How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be talking about Netflix's Fear Street Part 3 1666. This is from 2021, directed by Leigh Janiak, who directed the first two Fear Street movies, so a good sense of connectivity there, having the same director on again. This stars Kiana Madeira, Ashley Zuckerman, and Gillian Jacobs. And a whole bunch of the cast from the previous two movies also reappear in this one, but we'll get to that in just a second. This is also based on the Fear Street book series by R.L. Stine, and is the third and final part in the Fear Street Trilogy, or at least for now. Netflix hasn't announced anything as of the time of recording, but this has such a cult following behind it that I feel that Netflix is probably going to do something else. Either another trilogy or a spin-off. I mean, it just got such a cult following, I feel that they definitely should. But that being said, I do want to throw out this warning, same thing I usually say when I talk about films with a big cult following. I will be doing a flaws section. I do a pros and cons, but you know, I feel like whenever there's something with this big of a cult following, I do have to throw out a fair warning. I will be covering flaws. But that being said, let's go ahead and dive right into the plot. I'm not going to be doing any major spoilers. That being said, I do want to say my piece on a few plot points and make sure you guys have a basic understanding as to what the movie's about. But also, no major spoilers for this film. I will have to talk about the previous two kind of openly, so if you haven't seen the previous two, go watch them. But that being said, we open up where the last one left off. In the end of the last one, the main girl from 1994 gives Sarah Fear's corpse her hand back and is thrust into a vision of 1666, basically most of this movie here. And she opens up, she's in the past seeing what Sarah Fear saw, but also she looks down, I think it's a water puddle, and she sees the actual Sarah Fear's face, and it's a different actress, but she, of course, sees herself as herself, so she looks around and all the other people in this old-timey village are actors from the previous two movies. Now, I'm betting, we know for sure that Sarah Fear looked different, but I'm betting everyone else in this movie also looked different. It's just she's going to the past, so she sees everybody as people she knows. That's what I'd have to bet. We only know that Sarah Fear looked different. Maybe everyone else did look the same. I don't know. It's not super explained. But it is cool to see some of the old cast members back. You know, helps tie the whole thing together. But anyway, she lives in a house. She's a little bit of an outsider character. She likes to hang out with this guy that's an outcast from the town as well. And she also still has her younger brother there. It's her younger brother in 1994 is Sarah Fear's younger brother. And her girlfriend is still around as well. She's the pastor's daughter this time around. Now, you get a sense of the community and you get to meet all your new characters, and all the younger characters are giving a secret message to each other because they're going to go out to a party. Now, Sarah and a few of her closer friends, before the party, decide to pay a visit to this old witch's hut that's a little bit away from the village. They go there and they find a creepy spell book, which they do leave there. But the witch is kind of missing and they're not quite sure where she went. So after seeing the witch's house, they go to the party. Now, it's also worth noting at this time, Sunnyvale and Shadyside haven't separated yet, and they're in one community called Union. You know, Union, because they're together. The wordplay in this series is kind of funny. But they're in the community, the youths are dancing and having fun. There's one guy who's drunk and belligerent and kind of ruins the whole thing, and Sarah and the girl that's her girlfriend in the future both leave the party, and the two wind up kissing, which is much more taboo back in time. And they go back to her house and think that maybe someone saw them. They see a strange figure move quickly through the woods, and they don't quite know what's up. Well, the next day, the town is witness to a horrible event, which I won't spoil what happens, but mass murder. I'll leave the exact cause up to you to see when you see the movie. But a horrible event happens, and they begin searching for who to blame. Now, Sarah Fear also suspects something's up, and as the town starts to kind of blame her, she has to try to figure out what character really did cause this, so there's a little bit of a mystery there, and of course the whole town goes on a witch hunt directed at her, so has to avoid all these people that were her friends and figure out what's really going on. And I'll cut the plot off there because I don't want to spoil it, but there's a few things I need to talk about. One, this is a very different movie for the Fear Street series, and there's a lot that I missed in this movie that weren't in the previous two movies, and we have to talk about that. First and foremost, this isn't really a slasher at all. The second movie was definitely a slasher, and the first one, heavy slasher elements, although it wasn't really what it was focusing on. The third one, the witch segment, no real slasher stuff at all, which I really did miss. There's one big kill scene, that horrific moment, and then there's some stuff towards the end, but this isn't a movie with a whole bunch of kills in it. You know, you're unraveling a conspiracy, sure, but there's not a whole bunch of crazy, horrific deaths, and in turn I feel less scares in this movie because it's not a slasher. There's not death everywhere. There's also no iconic killer in this one. You know, you had the Camp Nightwing killer, and then in 1994 you had the Skullface killer. I really love those killer designs. This one didn't really have the one cool killer chasing you throughout the movie, and I missed having a killer, you know? There are other things. One thing that was really big with the Fear Street movies, music. And, you know, you have the first one, early 90s hits. The second one, 70s hits. 1666, you don't really have any iconic jams from 1666, and that's really just intrinsic to the time they set this in. I don't know, part of me wishes that they didn't go way back in time. Like, I wish that they had set this in like the 50s. That's still far enough back for things to get lost to history. And the 50s has, you know, iconic 50s music and monster movies. I feel they could have done a lot more pop culture stuff if they had not gone so far back in time. But I guess they wanted to do a witch's tale, you know. That being said, this one has a lot less humor and a lot less energy than the other two, and in turn it's a lot slower. Now, that being said too, there is a few moments where the kids do feel like they're being a little more modern than you'd think they would be. They're still doing the accent and they're still doing the words. I don't know, this may just be me, but I tend to think that all people in the past were just really sad, and it's probably somewhere in between, but every now and then there are moments where the kids act a little too modern. I don't know, maybe that's how they did act. I wasn't around back then. But anyway, the witch happens, and like I mentioned earlier, you know how it's not a slasher, there's not kills everywhere? I expected more witchy scares, you know? You have the big thing, and that's what a lot of this movie's riding on. But other than the big thing, you know, like you see a witch movie, I expect, you know, animals to be born with deformities and crazy, horrific things to happen every single night. Frogs to come out of people's mouths, I don't know. I was expecting a lot more in the scares department, a lot more messed up, old-timey witchy stuff than we actually got. It really does hinge a lot on this one horrific event, and I really wish it was just crazy and messed up the whole time. And I do have to mention, a lot of this, you know, witch stuff is based on the Salem Witch trials, but it's really more based on how pop culture has perceived the Salem Witch trials than what they actually were. The Salem Witch trials, in real life, a lot less people died than you probably thought. And also, these witch trials, when they actually did happen in the real town of Salem, were not unanimous, and a whole bunch of people, especially early on, really did come out against them in real life, but pop culture likes to portray it as everybody just went crazy, but they were far from universally popular. And I don't know, just in my real life experience, I find that if you have more than 3 people, it's hard to get them to come together unanimously on anything, and sort of the whole town just goes crazy, which maybe you can say the witch had influence over the town or something, but the whole town, there's this trial after the horrific event. They can't believe it's just face value. They have to believe that there's someone else behind it. And there's a few things with this scene that I didn't like. First of all, there's a town drunk character that kind of eggs them all on, and everybody just listens to the town drunk. I thought that was really weird. You know, it's the character you think they would dismiss. But also, they say, hey, we think we have a witch here. I bet you it's Sarah Fear. Now, remember earlier when I was doing the plot summary, and I mentioned how they went and looked at a witch's hut that everybody kind of knew about that was not too far from your village? If you're doing a trial and you think there's a witch, wouldn't you pick the known witch, the witch that you know about? Why do you focus on this random girl in your town based on the word of a drunk? You know, if you think there's a witch, go to the witch that you know about first. That was just a little weird. Maybe I didn't get something, maybe I missed something. I don't know. The whole town going crazy and focusing right on her just seemed a little... like, I didn't think that people would actually do something like this. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, and I'm sure people like it. I'm sure there's some people that have that totally get the whole everyone goes crazy thing, but I always find it's a little implausible. You know, there's always people that disagree with it, and no one's ever on 100% wavelength with everyone else, you know? But anyway, this movie also has an extended epilogue, which some people are like, oh, don't talk about... I'm gonna briefly touch on the extended epilogue. You guys really should know that this is coming because it's the final part of the trilogy. Of course, they're gonna wrap it up. In the extended epilogue, I thought was really fun. You finally get everything tying up. You get to see all the killers, or at least all of them that showed up. I feel like if this has been going on for about 300 or so years, you would really have way more killers than actually show up. But we get to see about like 6 or 7, if I had to guess, of these killers. They're all pretty cool, and you get to see them all in one location. Now, the plot here is a little bit Scooby-Doo-esque, but overall, this epilogue really did bring back a lot of the energy and is definitely my favorite segment from the movie. And it's really cool to see all these killers at the end there. So, really great ending piece, and I think really, you know, brought this movie into a higher grade. And I really did like it, and I really did like that it got so much screen time, because I thought it was, personally, I thought it was more interesting than the past stuff. So I really did like that, and it was cool enough. But doing the witch stuff, I did feel, you know, I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, it shakes things up, and I guess it does shake things up, but this is only the 3rd movie. Did you really have to shake things up so much? I feel like with Part 2, it was just finding its feet, you know? Part 2 was great, but you're going back, and this feels more like Part 1. Once again, we're more unfocused, you know, or at least not focused on the scares. And this witch stuff I was just never a big fan of. Maybe it's just me personally, maybe it's just because I'm a slasher geek. But, you know, it's like all this witch stuff, less about the scares, less about the atmosphere, and I don't know, I just want to see cool, creepy stuff, and this was more plot-heavy, I guess you'd say. But overall, it was still fine. It's just not my favorite. I was hoping for a good slasher, or at least a super disturbing witch's tale, and it's kind of a mystery more than anything. But I did like the end part, and there was some stuff with the witch that I did like. The one horrific event was really well done. I just wish it was full of horrific events, you know? And then there's other things like, you know, the girl that played Max in Stranger Things, and the younger brother from the first movie. they're not in the past segment near as much as I wish they were, and the past segment, I just wasn't digging it. I wanted it to be creepier and darker with disturbing imagery, or just be a slasher, and and it wasn't, but it was still fine. But anyway, I found this third part to be okay, not the best, and there's just things from this series that this series did really well that it was missing, and some weird logic problems, but overall it's fine. It's just, my definite order for this series is Part 2 is clearly the best by like a long shot. Part 1's pretty good but had some faults, and then Part 3's just not really what I was looking for, but I'm sure maybe if you're big into witch stuff, maybe you'll like it. It's just, I had some problems with it. It was fine though. But anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You're really helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist at the bottom. If you want to see more, you can click there and see more. And this playlist should have my other 2 Fear Street reviews in it as well. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.